All right, I'm Dr. Park. We got a couple of the other professors here with us to make sure all your questions get answered as they sort of start to develop. I've got a list of everybody's just sort of basic contact information. We don't know as professors who's coming on camp until fairly late once registration has been kind of finalized, and it helps us to be able to sort of make reservations and know how many people are coming on east and or west. So we'll go through some of the details. If you have any questions, ask them kind of right then so that we're not sort of getting away from the topic that you're wondering about. Basic schematic on the calendar is this starts Monday, May 11th. So that's the Monday right after exam week is over. This all happens during the month of intersession. And summer camp used to be 4 weeks long. It is now 2 weeks, with the West Camp having an optional extension on the tail end of that to go further west. So yeah, exams. Have a nice weekend. Go to graduation. Send off your Forestry brothers and sisters who are graduating, and then first thing Monday morning, get back after it. We start out with basically our chainsawing, felling, tree climbing, rope work, harness work, and safety stuff over at Touch of Nature for a couple of days. We bring in a whole bunch of forestry alums from all over Illinois and a couple from Missouri to kind of just show you the ropes literally, but also help you guys understand that there's a lot of demand for you guys and gals as been sort of starting trained and certified foresters in different ways. So this is going to be kind of our urban forestry component, and it's a pretty intense couple of days. We'll do some tree work and some maintenance over at Touch of Nature, so you guys can get some hands-on saws and stuff like that. We'll go through all the safety stuff. So those are day trips. We start and finish the day at Touch of Nature, and everybody is home in their own beds, wherever that is, for those nights. Yeah.
We start and finish the day in the parking lot here.
Yep.
I guess and we'll just drive back and forth. Don't make any commitments to do anything else that week, because you will be either at camp or tired and getting ready for the next day of camp.
Have a friend for that week. A lot of ticks. Friend can help you with blind spots. Make sure it's a good friend.
Good friend, yeah. Or they will be soon.
Yeah. Middle of the first week, so like Wednesday, Thursday, we'll pack up shop at Touch of Nature and head over to Missouri for it's 1 or 2 nights. So this is Wednesday, Thursday,
2
Friday?
nights, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're over in Missouri. So here's our fancy fly-through, courtesy of our I Spy in the Sky Google Maps. We're going to head to the sprawling metropolis of Timber, Missouri, with points of interest like Ozark Scenic Riverways, if we have time for a float talking about forest hydrology stuff and some cultural history stuff. There's a family charcoal operation called the Timber Charcoal Operation of Timber, Missouri, an unincorporated place. It's like zero stoplight town. And also some pretty cool spots, places like Elephant Rock State Park, so named because it has rocks that look like elephants. Pretty cool. And some stuff has happened there in terms of land management that's pretty gnarly. So check out the state park around there. And we'll also link up with MDC, and they have quite a bit going on in a slightly or wildly different way than IDNR does resource management around our 2 respective states for some pretty interesting reasons. So they'll talk us through some of the stuff that they're doing. Typically, they are low-key scouting you guys for folks to poach, to hire out from under us, and so forth. So, come ready to learn, but also to represent yourself well and acquit yourself on the field of battle in terms of getting hired. We'll probably end up, if it's like last year, over at a fire outlook. This is maybe not the one we're going to, but one like it. And then from here, on Friday afternoon, East Camp will come back to Carbondale, take the weekend off, and then Monday typically head over to Great Smoky Mountains National Park and points east like Cades Cove. This is the first point at which the two summer camps split. So we have East and West Camp. The curriculum is the same, y'all. Our topics are the same no matter where we go because forestry is using a lot of the same principles wherever we go, but the ecosystem and context and land use history of these different places varies much more dramatically. So you get to pick, do you want to go east to eastern hardwood and that sort of regime, or do you want to head west to montane, arid, semi-arid, and like ponderosa, pinyon juniper, that kind of ecosystem. Spruce fir up in the mountains, stuff like that. So this is Great Smoky Mountains National Park. You guys will be there for the better part of a week, and that involves stuff like hiking up to what used to be called Klingman's Dome, but has now been renamed to its indigenous name, Kuohi.
Is that true?
That is true.
When did that happen?
It's just like Mount McKinley is now Denali.
Yeah. When did that happen?
That's fairly recent, last couple of years. Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought it was still the Klingmans.
So, no matter which camp you go on, we're going to do a lot of the same activities, just in deep green ecosystems. So, here in the east, one day you spend an entire day basically hiking down from the lowest elevations accessible, around 1,000 feet elevation above sea level, I think, up to just above 6,000 feet elevation at the top of Kuohi. And you look at forest composition change, phenology, senescence, stuff like that on your way up. Pretty dramatic differences from the bottom of the mountain to the top, of course. Same activity out west, but it's going to be on a mountain called Wheeler, which will take us from basically semi-arid desert floor up to above tree line. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's Kuohi and Cades Cove. There's a whole lot of fire management going on out east. There's a whole lot of big game management, particular elk reintroduction efforts centered around Great Smokies and Nantahala National Forest and surrounding national forests. We'll also see a bunch of the same big game species with the addition of like blacktail and muley, for those of you who know what those are, and Antilocapridae species out west. So wildlife habitat management, very active, very involved in both directions, just slightly different contexts and particular water rights around that out west. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, so just in review, we have 2 days at Touch of Nature, all locally, day trips out of this parking lot here at the Ag Building. 3 days in southeastern, southern central Missouri, and at the end of those 3 days, Friday of the first week, May 15th, East Camp is going to return from southern central Missouri back to Carbondale and then push east for the following week. West Camp is going to launch from Timber, Missouri and drive west through that Saturday, May 16th, to get to the Taos, New Mexico area. All right, so East Camp is out east, and West Camp is going to go to a selection of the following places. All right, so we're looking at the Pecos Range in Santa Fe, New Mexico, north of Santa Fe, the city, much closer to the much smaller town. It's about a third of the size of Carbondale, Taos, New Mexico. It's a ski town. And we'll be talking about forest hydrology in rivers like this. This is a lot of the landmarks and place marks here are named for things like Wild West outlaws and stuff like that. Like this is that kind of territory. Like the 310 to Yuma movie, right? Not too far from here. Okay. Let's see. So for West Camp, because the distances are a little bit bigger, we're going to do, instead of a bunch of point-to-point camping in a different place every night kind of thing, we're going to base camp outside of Taos in one of these basins near Wheeler Peak. It's a big ski area up here. For those of you enjoying the Winter Olympics, there's a human use of the forest along those lines, and this is where we're going to be doing our elevational transect hike. For anybody with health concerns or mobility concerns, we don't like death march you from 800 feet to like 12,000 feet. Like, we figure it out. All right. The point is not to break your legs. It is to learn some things about forestry experientially. All right. So, our points of interest, our spokes on the hub around base camp are Wheeler and the Pecos River Basin. So steep wall, montane and subalpine riverine dynamics and sediment transport, alluvium, stuff like that. Polvidera peaks, dusty peaks, and also the Southwest is home to a whole chain of dormant, semi-active, and active volcanic calderas. So one of our points of interest is the Caldera National Preserve, run by the United States National Park Service. We are a forestry program, but some of our students are studying or preparing to be park rangers as well, so that's on our list for there. If you have anything to do with scouting, you may be familiar with the largest or busiest camp by head count annually in the world, Philmont Scout Ranch, outside of Cimarron. We are looking at doing there's some human-wildlife interaction problems at Philmont, you can imagine. My old PhD advisor was on the advisory board for Scouts back in the day, and they had a lot of problems with bears getting into camp and opening up a tent with a claw and then opening up the sleeping bag inside, sort of the human-sized burrito, and clawing up the camper inside to get at the chocolate bar wrapper that they'd found or forgotten in their pocket from earlier that day. So Scouts have had to adjust fairly heavily on how to keep people safe, but more importantly, how to keep the bears safe from the people. Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked at Philmont these past 3 summers, love it out there, and just listening to radio traffic and rumors, we had 3 problem bears this past summer.
Yeah. So that's a very high density of problem bears. An adult male black bear needs about 100 square miles personally or individually in terms of habitat space to be fully functional. So we're to spend a day or part of a day looking at human use of forest environments. And then at the end of that week, that's about all I have time for out west. Just like it's a fairly quick trip out and back, out east. On Friday, May 22nd, we're going to send one vehicle back from the western trip back to Carbondale so that the west bus and the east bus arrive back to Carbondale and you can start your summer at the same time either way. That's Friday, May 22nd. All right, so that's the line in the sand we've drawn on your schedule for the summer. So if you need to get back and get working, head on back at that point. For folks who want to go west, and this is an if we have sort of the right balance of number of people who want to go further and a little bit longer in our western trip, we have the menu of the following places to go to. Mesa Verde's Cliff Palace, Puebloan and ancestral Chacoan cultures are all throughout this area, as well as active Native American reservations, Navajo, Ute, Paiute, Southern Ute. And I believe one or a couple of our grad students over the past decade have worked with some of these nations to work on like blacktail management and habitat management, since their cultural values are wrapped around species that are getting pushed up cooler mountain ranges with the sky island effect and climate change. So we'll go meet some of these people, talk about some of these issues, see how forestry works out west to keep people fed and connected to their cultural and ancestral values. And then continue on to watch sunset over Desert View Tower. This is the east or upriver end of Grand Canyon National Park. You may have heard of it. The Big Ditch is about a mile deep, so for those of you who want to, and this is all on the extended optional part of West Camp only, you can hike from the South Rim down along Bright Angel Trail to Phantom Ranch, which is behind this shoulder slope. Okay, that's like a 1,500 foot ridge, top to bottom, right there, to give you a sense of scale. Okay, so that's a burly hike, but it is a world-class or famous hike called a rim-to-rim hike, and it is non-zero risk of death on that hike. So think carefully if you want to do that. Weather permitting, we could try to push for North Rim Campground. It's about 2,000 feet higher in elevation than the South Rim is. So this is ponderosa forest instead of pinyon juniper complex. And this is also an area that has a whole lot of active bison management in addition to the elk management, which is all over the place everywhere on both rims of the Grand Canyon. So if you're into wildlife management, in particular big game, there's a lot going on with that around here. Looking at Glen Canyon Dam, Lake Powell, and this is a nice easy beach afternoon to sort of cool off, get a shower, and drink some beer if you are into recreational molecules like that. Also, just down river from that is, wherever it is down here, Horseshoe Bend, which is the second or third curviest section of river in the United States, over 270 degrees and less than a mile of curvature. That's Peyronie's the river. All right, let's see. Onward from there would be Zion National Park. So the action in Zion is down at the bottom. All the buildings are down inside the canyon. These are 800 to 1,200 foot vertical sandstone walls, and that would include a hike up to this rock fin. It's about 60 feet wide and about 1,000 foot straight down on three sides from there. 800 to 1,200 foot cliff walls there. For folks who want to get in a little bit of backpacking on any summer camp itinerary is optional. But we go to some pretty world-class places, so it would be a shame to waste the opportunity. You may attempt to go through the Narrows, which is a section of the Virgin River that's 60, 70 feet wide, and then those 1,000-foot cliffs on both sides. So there are sections of it that never see sunlight. It's just that steep and narrow. It's not just a clever name. And then from there, Bryce Canyon National Park. There's not much to say about this. It's rock chimneys. Who enjoys it? Who do you do? From there, Capitol Reef National Park, which is home to a whole bunch of not just individual petrified trees, but entire petrified forests of trees that were, in some cases, petrified standing and then fell over when the overburden of sandstone was eroded away and shattered on the way down. Pretty cool spot to hike through. NASA trains for lunar and Mars rover missions not far from here. So we can stop by there if folks want to do that. What else? And then from there, wrapping up the trip, we have canyoneering, which is backpacking in 3 dimensions, up, down, sideways, through caves, up and down cliff faces, on and off harness, safety harness, at Canyonlands. And then the Moab area. So here's Druid Arch at Canyonlands. It's this one right there. It's Druid Arch. It's a fun day hike. Super hard. Your nose will bleed. It's so dry. You look like a total crack addict. Then on to Arches National Park, about 70 miles north of Canyonlands, over 400 arches in like a, 36, 38 square mile area, including the world famous Delicate Arch. And by the time we see this, we are definitely running out of time, so we're going to start angling back east. And that almost always culminates in a stop at Rocky Mountain National Park. This is Long's Peak. So last year, this was closed off because it was covered under snow, but we'll be going across Rocky Mountain National Park, if it's open, a little bit later in the spring, at like 11,200 feet. It's the highest paved highway in the United States, maybe North America.
North America.
And there's a visitor center up there. You can get soup and get all lightheaded from the low air pressure. Low partial pressure of oxygen makes you all acute mountain sick. It's all very exciting. And then back home. So that's the itinerary. That's a lot of stops. We probably won't make all of those out west. the elevations are significantly higher, right? 9,500 feet elevation on the north rim means that there can be like 15, 18, 20 inches of snow in early June. And the roads are just not accessible because they're not even trying to plow. So, question.
Where you say we for the days we're going back and forth from Touch of Nature, where will we be staying?
Wherever you normally stay.
Well, Towers Farm, we getting kicked out by then?
I don't know.
Sometimes students will just camp out. They'll like pitch tent in Giant City for those couple nights. We've had several students there. We've had students camp at Crab Orchard. We've had students sleep on couches at friends' house.
I've had students camp in my backyard, whatever, you know. We have dogs now, so that's probably less advisable, but yeah, they're sweet, but dumb. Yeah.
So you said like the date that like both camps would end, like the non-extended West version would be the 22nd, right?
That is a true fact.
Okay. Is there like a date set for the extended West version, or is it just like we're playing it by ear?
Yeah, intercession is over on Friday, June 5th, close of business. So, we get back before then. Even when summer camp was 4 weeks long, because West Camp ate up a few of those internal Saturdays and Sundays, we try and get back like Wednesday or Thursday of that last week. So that'd be like June 3rd or 4th at the latest. It kind of depends on how many people want to do that extended thing. That kind of determines our timetable. So we'll see. As that paper's going around, keep that thing going around if it's done, and just let us know sort of tentatively you're thinking east or west, so we can get some ballpark like order of magnitude numbers.
When do we have to when do we have to pay for everything?
Let's see. Intercession classes are billed through the bursar, I think, as a summer class. So it's like later in the summer, late July, early August, something like that.
Fees, though, I think you pay those before, correct?
I don't know when all these bills go out. I wish I knew more about that. I don't know when the bills get sent out. It's all through the bursar though, Jonah. This would be a great time for logistical questions. What'd you say?
Can we get a recording of this?
Yeah, this is recording. Hopefully this comes through on the microphone. Yeah.
Will we receive a packing list at any point?
Yes.
So, East Camp's packing list is fairly straightforward. Like, grab a duffel bag, throw your stuff in it, and you're good to go. West Camp, it's not a bad idea. You can go with a duffel bag as well, since we're base camping. But if you want to do any backpacking, for example, it makes more sense to fit all your stuff into the expedition size and type internal frame pack instead of into a duffel bag, which is much more comfortable to carry and ergonomic and won't hurt your back as easily.
A little bit about the East Camp. It's really pretty classical car camping, but we're going to be limited in the amount of space that each one of you are going to have. We're going to be in a van, 5 or so people, 6 people per van. So you're going to have to buddy up in terms of coolers. Not everybody's going to bring their own cooler. There are going to be food stops throughout the trip, so don't bring all of your own food for all of the East trip. And I don't think that's the case for West either. We stop for food every 2 days or so. We pass through Gatlinburg every day, so you can always go to a supermarket if you need to get food. So don't overpack. It's desirable if you have a large tent to share tents, so not everybody's bringing their own little tent, but if you do prefer to do that, that's fine as well. But we do need to limit the amount of things that each one of you brings, so we've simply got room to haul all of your stuff. So while we are car camping, we are going to be in tents. I don't know what the shower situation is going to be. It's possible will be possible that you won't have access to a shower during the week in the Smokies. There will be water points for sure, so you will have access to water. As far as temperatures go, have a sleeping bag planned for nighttime temperatures that would go as low as, I would say, around 40 degrees or so. It's not going to be any type of Arctic expedition here. Comfortable hiking shoes are going to be as heavy as you need to be. So what I have typically done, I've bought like cheap $50, $60 hiking boots from Shoe Carnival, and I'm perfectly fine in terms of footwear for these. You can wear sneakers for most of the hikes you're on. The duration of hikes typically progresses from 5 or so miles, 6 miles, maybe the first day that we're there, and we work ourselves up to the culmination in terms of physical exertion on the east hike is going to be about a 12-mile hike or so on one of the major mountains where we hike through the different ecosystems from low to high elevation. So more specifics on that, but in terms of gear, this one is going to be more like car camping in a climate prone to be somewhat cooler than we have around Carbondale that time of the year. So, but still comparable.
Temperature range for West Camp is a bit more severe with the wider range in elevation. We've experienced firsthand in the past on summer camp as hot as 125 degrees at Phantom Ranch at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Full stop. At the top of the Grand Canyon, it can be 70 degrees colder on the same day at the same time, right? 9,500 feet elevation, and then way down, a mile straight down from there. So it can be as cold as about 20 degrees. It's only ever 20 degrees if you are up in the mountains backpacking as a part of the optional extra west part. Make sense? Okay. So a 30-degree sleeping bag is good to go. The only difference or hard cutoff for West summer camp, optional side or not, is cannot have any cotton in your clothes. Cotton is hygroscopic. It absorbs the salt and the sweat and the water that your body gives off as insensate perspiration out west and cools you off. So you lose heat about 80 times faster when your body is wet, and cotton kills out west. So go to Goodwill, get at least one outfit of purely non-cotton clothing. It can be wool. Wool has lanolin that keeps the water off your body and keeps you warm even when it's wet. It can be synthetics like Capilene or Under Armour or whatever else, but performance fishing gear is fine. Just at least one entire outfit, including undies and socks, that has no cotton in it. Sounds good? Cool. That's a safety requirement, not an optional comfort thing. Other questions? Yeah.
What is ski gonna be like for West? Same thing, kind of. Just gotta pick it up as we go.
Yep. Yeah.
If we are curious about doing like the extended version of West, when will we find out if that's like a viable option for us? Like when we need to let you know.
Sure.
If
We'll have access, right?
I'm gonna need to know by like mid-March, latest, like hard cutoff. Gotta know.
okay.
Probably.
Some things like that Angel's Landing hike where you go up to that rock fin and it's beautiful views for 350 degrees around you. Those have tight permit lottery requirements. They won't let you on that rock without one. So I just got to know so I can line that stuff up for you.
One of the big motivations of this meeting now is to get this on your guys' radar and help you decide when you go with Kathy to register for courses that you want to go east or you want to go west. We were going to have a follow-up meeting as we get closer to camp that will go through in excruciating detail, hopefully, everything that you will need to know of. Right now, we really just need you to be generally aware of what you might be getting into if you go east, what you might be getting into if you go west, and then once you made that decision about which ecosystem you want to study with the general same topics, register for that course. Each camp will have its specific meeting talking about the very specifics of the itinerary, packing list, these really specific questions like when are we going to get food, etc. So our big goal today, hey, here's camp, we're excited about it. Here are the options at camp. You make a decision what fits for you. Period.
And again, just to underscore this, we've said this a couple of times, but the curriculum, the skill set, the field training exercises are the same across both camps. We wanted to make geographic options available without anybody having to feel like they were compromising on what they were going to learn along the way. Other questions? This is good stuff.
So what food are we allowed to bring? Like personal food?
Whatever you want, as long as it's legal in that state.
Will you explain the backpacking? Like, is that anytime? Like, or just during the evening?
Oh yeah, sure. So for the west trip, the backpacking options, always optional. Certain places have a lot to do with backpacking, and others like Bryce have very little to do with backpacking. So as we get to any of those places, it's a dialogue among who's interested in going, and been there a couple of times, so I can help groups self-sort into sort of aggressiveness or skill level, or skill comfort level. Typically, we have a group of gonzo hikers who want to get up before sunrise and hike until after sunset, and just see as many things as they can in like a couple of days, like a 2-night backpacking trip. And then we have a larger group of folks, typically 1 or 2 groups, who want to just sort of take it easy and enjoy backpacking instead. And then everybody else kind of hangs out at base camp instead and does day trippy stuff in these places. So places where you can most likely connect with good backpacking weather safety conditions are going to be Zion Upcountry. So hiking on top of this in the tableland, it's beautiful rolling sandstone hills and forests. Or Grand Canyon down in the canyon. So this entire canyon corridor, everything below the plateau surface is designated wilderness with FAA mandated helicopter no-fly zones, because tourism helicopters out of Las Vegas, which is not far from here, were really pissing off a lot of people. So you can drop down into the canyon for a couple of days and do less than 10,000 feet of vertical change in 24 hours over a couple of days, instead of rim to rim, in and out, a mile down, a mile up. And other places as well, if folks are interested in more. So, yeah. Other questions?
If you can just reiterate, this year on the West Camp is going to be similar to the East Camp in that we will have a base camp, the spoken hub model. So it's not a requirement. If you have no interest in going to this extended version, you will have a base camp that will be following similar lines with how Dr. Goniger explained packing list for East Camp. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like logistically, just again, if you don't want to go on the extended trip, but you really want to go on the West trip, we don't anticipate that being an issue at all. We have a van, we'll get you back to Carbondale. Do not stress about that. Don't let that that won't be a deciding factor for your experience out west.
Yes. Like, what are like the wildlife like opportunities as far as like what we're going to be seeing as far as like the biodiversity and stuff going east or west?
Very different in both directions.
Yeah, so you're going to world-class salamander habitat in Great Smokies, for example. Hellbenders, mud puppies. We talked about elk reintroduction efforts in the east. Those have been really pretty successful, and to a lesser extent, bison, American bison as well. Out west,
Lots of black bear.
Yeah.
Increasingly, lots of black bear at close proximity.
Yeah. We joke about trash pandas in Carbondale. Trash pandas in the Appalachians are black bears. Now, as you heard in Philmont, we also have to be concerned and on bear protocol, meaning no food in your tents, nothing with like a perfume or synthetic food flavoring in your packs, like deodorant, for example. That can be confusing to bears, and we don't want any confusion around bears. Out west, we also have to be aware of, but not particularly concerned about, mountain lions. And for the first time since we're going to Taos, maybe in the low country, maybe a little bit, scorpions. We're just at the northern edge of scorpion habitat in our southernmost extent. Maybe. That's fine. Have a tent. That's what they're for. And you're good to go. Okay? West Camp does not have typically a whole lot of issues with mosquitoes once we actually get out west. And ticks are really only a big concern for us in Rocky Mountain National Park, which we're in very briefly on our way home. Yeah.
Your computer's about to restart in 17 seconds.
Oh, shoot! Not now.
Thank you, Olivia. Bless you.
Where's my mouse? There we go.
Good. No looks up.
Saving the day. All right. Cool.
You guys have the information you need to make an informed decision.
All right. We're around if you have any other questions. Otherwise, talk with Kathy, get signed up.
Once you guys are registered, we'll send out new emails about meetings.
So, question about the extended trip. How set in stone are we on those locations? There's one place in New Mexico I really want to go see, and I'm afraid to keep trying to get me to get out there. It's I'm up by east, so it's like just north of the outskirts. Like it's on like the interstate we're going out of like and it's a national monument. I think it's a plus 12 into like that habitat and like fire on site.
Yeah.
I have like contacts there. I have contacts there. If people who are interested, I can probably get you stuff there. I don't know. I was just like, I was telling them like 3 weeks out west, birthday party. Oh yeah, you need to go now. Like if you're gonna go.
Yeah, well that's even a heavily curated list. That's just the Grand Cirque. I want to also add in stuff like Chiricahuas, Border Pipe, Saguaro. You know, I don't know how far and south we get, but
Yeah, like Elma, I think if I'm on Google Maps.
yeah, so you could.
Yeah, it's the grants that doubles right here. It's all like on lava field too, so it's like where they have like volcanic activity and lava field as well. So like to become like something different from like what everybody sees out this way.
I like it. Okay, I'm open to that.
I have a question.
You gotta give us back quarters again?
On Friday, do you know what time we'll be based?
We'll get together as a class and pick that real soon. It's probably gonna be after Willie's class. Usually
It's there, but they don't. I said I got a new cat in the morning. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. No, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
See you Monday.
That's like